Ah. Ok. Alors, merci d'avoir répondu présent à l'invitation pour participer à cette soirée de présentation des masters. Je me réjouis de vous voir si nombreux. Je vais me charger de présenter en français la partie master en économie politique. Et mon collègue, le professeur Bichel, dira un mot en allemand sur le master d'économie politique avant de passer en anglais, je crois, sur le master data analytics. Puis ensuite, on aura une présentation de Monsieur Phil. L'idée ici, c'est de vous dire deux mots sur pourquoi c'est intéressant de faire des études en économie et pourquoi c'est quelque chose que vous devriez considérer sérieusement. L'économie, c'est deux choses. C'est d'une part s'équiper d'un cadre théorique pour réfléchir à des grandes questions. Et puis, c'est aussi des compétences statistiques qui permettent d'analyser tout un tas de choses et qui vont être en lien justement avec ce cadre théorique. Qu'est-ce que ça va vous fournir? Eh bien, ça va vous donner justement un cadre qui vous permet d'appliquer une pensée critique, ce qui est fort utile, et que vous allez pouvoir appliquer à plein de questions qui sont importantes pour la société dans laquelle on vit. Et puis, vous allez aussi acquérir des compétences en termes de capacité à générer des faits stylisés à partir de données. Or, des données, ben, vous êtes bien placé pour le savoir, il y en a dans plein de dimensions, il y en a partout. C'est réellement le nerf de la guerre aujourd'hui en termes de compréhension du monde dans lequel on vit. Alors après, qu'est-ce que vous faites avec tout ça? L'idée, c'est que vous allez pouvoir appliquer justement ces compétences et cette combinaison de compétences pour potentiellement à peu près n'importe quelle question qui est pertinente pour notre société. Puis ces questions, elles sont très variées. Donc, ça va être des questions de politique publique. Par exemple, ça je sais que vous le savez déjà, mais je vais quand même le dire. Par exemple, comment fait-on pour réduire le chômage? Comment fait-on pour promouvoir la croissance, pour réduire la pauvreté? Est-ce que je dois me raccrocher à des accords avec l'Union européenne, etc. Donc, des questions réellement de politique publique, par exemple, en Suisse. Mais ça va être aussi des questions beaucoup basées sur les décisions individuelles ou les décisions des ménages. Donc là, je vous ai mis un petit exemple qui semble assez anecdotique. Hein. Qu'est-ce que je vais manger? Mais ça fait partie aussi des choses que les économistes parfois modélisent, notamment qu'est-ce qui détermine l'investissement en santé? Qu'est-ce qui détermine d'avoir une bonne nutrition? Qu'est-ce qui détermine l'investissement en éducation? Ce sont aussi des questions qui sont en fait importantes. D'autres questions qui sont aussi très importantes en politique. Il y a eu récemment tout un débat sur le niveau des sanctions qui devaient être mises en œuvre vis-à-vis des oligarques russes pour chercher à limiter, réduire ou peut-être arrêter la guerre. Ça n'a pas très bien marché. Mais donc, c'était un débat entre économistes, de savoir comment on peut faire ça. Une autre question, c'est finalement comment est-ce qu'on doit construire un système d'enchères. Donc là, je vous ai mis la photo d'une enchère de tableau, mais ce n'est pas du tout les seules enchères qui existent en économie. On peut être amené à mettre aux enchères finalement des infrastructures, par exemple de téléphonie mobile. Comment est-ce que je dois designer l'enchère pour que récupérer le montant maximal, étant donné un certain nombre de contraintes? Ça fait partie aussi des questions sur lesquelles un économiste peut contribuer. Une autre question qui va être aussi extrêmement importante dans les années à venir, c'est la question de la durabilité. Donc, Ici, c'est comment est-ce que je fais pour réduire la pollution associée à l'automobile. Et donc, là, la proposition, c'est finalement mettre en place un service de train cargo qui permette de transporter les voitures au lieu de faire les embouteillages, ce qui permet à la fois de réduire en pollution et d'améliorer probablement le bien-être des conducteurs qui récupèrent un petit peu de temps de cerveau disponible. Donc, vous voyez, des questions, les outils qu'on étudie en économie sont ensuite applicables à une grande variété de questions. Et pour cette raison, je ne vais pas vous dire quand on fait un master en économie, après, on fait tel job. Parce qu'il n'y a pas de réponse à ça. Il n'y a pas de réponse à ça parce qu'il y a énormément de possibilités. Donc, je vous en donne quand même quelques-unes ici, des possibilités. Mais c'est à chacun de choisir finalement ce qu'il a envie de faire avec son bagage d'économiste. Donc, quels sont des exemples de possibilités? Ça peut être, par exemple, travailler sur des questions relatives aux politiques de santé, soit pour la Confédération, soit pour une des caisses d'assurance maladie. Notamment, il y a plein de questions de comment est-ce qu'on fait pour couvrir les gens en santé de façon effective. Il y a des étudiants qui obtiennent un master qui ensuite s'orientent vers des activités auprès des organisations non gouvernementales, y compris certains à l'étranger, sur des problématiques de migration, de camps de réfugiés, de réduction de la pauvreté. Il y a des étudiants qui trouvent un poste comme investment analyst. Donc, évidemment, ça fait partie des métiers très prisés par les entreprises privées qui ont besoin de déterminer sur quoi ils investissent. De nouveau, en termes de durabilité, va y avoir pas mal de grandes problématiques, notamment en termes de tarification, d'approvisionnement en termes d'énergie. Donc, il y a des emplois dans les entreprises qui fournissent de l'énergie. Data analyst, ça va, comme je mentionnais, il y a beaucoup d'entreprises qui finalement collectent des données de façon à pouvoir ensuite pratiquer des tarifications qui leur permettent de maximiser leurs profits. Donc, pour ça, il faut être capable de bien analyser pour déterminer quel est le bon tarif, le bon marketing, la bonne stratégie, etc. Donc, évidemment, ce sont aussi des compétences qui sont recherchées. Vous pouvez être journaliste économique aussi. Et là, dans ma petite pièce d'échec, il y a encore un certain nombre d'autres mots-clés qui suggèrent d'autres postes possibles qui peuvent être occupés par des étudiants qui auraient détenu un master en économie. Pourquoi j'ai choisi cette pièce d'échec? Pour ceux d'entre vous qui jouent aux échecs, vous savez que le cavalier, c'est une pièce qui est très puissante, mais elle a cette caractéristique qu'elle ne va pas en ligne droite. Et pour moi, détenir un master en économie, c'est aussi ce choix-là. C'est faire le choix d'acquérir des outils qui sont puissants, mais il faut savoir aussi que la vie n'est pas complètement un long fleuve tranquille parce que vous ne saurez pas immédiatement derrière ce que vous faites comme métier. Ce sera à vous de déterminer ce que vous souhaitez faire et de le déterminer en fonction de vos valeurs, de ce qui est important pour vous, de là où vous voulez mettre votre effort en termes de contribution dans cette société. Voilà, donc c'est ce que je voulais vous indiquer. J'ai juste laissé les slides de présentation de façon plus standard du master en économie, mais ce sont des choses qui apparaissent sur les brochures, donc vous les retrouverez facilement. Et puis si jamais vous avez des questions, vous pourrez les poser. Je vous laisse quand même encore quelques exemples pour la carrière. Berno?
Ich habe hier nicht vor, alles zu wiederholen, was bereits gesagt wurde. Ich stehe hauptsächlich hier vorne wegen des guten Aussehens oder nicht nur des guten Aussehens, wegen der deutschen Sprache. Ich möchte betonen und unterstreichen mit diesen ein, zwei Sätzen, die ich jetzt auf Deutsch sage, dass wir unseren wunderbaren Master hier in Volkswirtschaftslehre mit großem deutschen Anteil auch studieren können. Das heißt insbesondere, wir haben das schon beim Bachelor, dort haben wir alle wesentlichen Programme gedoppelt. Man kann alle wesentlichen Kurse, pardon, Kurse, nicht Programme, wählen, ob man sie auf Deutsch oder auf Französisch besucht. Und wenn man dann den nächsten Schritt geht in den Master, hat man eine große Wahlfreiheit innerhalb der Themen, die man wählt und kann sich dort zusammenstellen, welchen Kurs man wählt. Und mit jedem Kurs geht auch eine Sprache einher. Es ist nicht unbedingt notwendig, dass man alle drei Sprachen, die im Master vorhanden sind, auch beherrscht und alle drei Sprachen auch explizit dann für sich vollends lebt, aber es ist eine große Chance, so etwas zu tun. Ich habe das selber an der Sorbonne erlebt, als ich auf Französisch Kurse belegt habe und auch für die Deutschsprachigen hier den Schritt zu wagen, auf Französisch Kurse zu belegen, das kann sehr hilfreich sein und man bekommt schnell ein Verständnis auch für Zusammenhänge und auch Differenzen und Gemeinsamkeiten, wenn es um internationale Organisationen oder auch Zusammenarbeit hier auf Bundesebene geht. Das ist also noch einmal der Abschluss zum ersten Studienprogramm, das wir vorstellen, Economie, Politik auf Französisch oder Volkswirtschaftslehre auf Deutsch oder Economics auf Englisch. Ich wechsle dann gerne zum zweiten Teil und zu der zweiten Sprache. Let us now stick to English for this master's program. This program is mainly taught in English, but there are also courses in French and in German. It fits very well that we present after the program in economics and before the program in business informatics, the program in data analytics and economics. As you will see, it contains elements of both. I'm not a big fan of buzzwords, but the buzzwords big data and digital economy, they stand for fundamental trends, and there's something big behind both of these words when we think about how our world and how our economy is changing at the time and will change within the next few years. If you think about the availability of data and how they are used by large language models such as ChatGPT, or if you think about companies like Google and Amazon and so on, and also social media platforms, you can see how our economy and our whole society is currently changing. So it is very important that we understand, first of all, what is going on there, but also that we can shape what is going on there, be it as an employee or be it as a part of the government that regulates these companies and activities. If we look at what you mainly gain as an economist that you use in these kind of companies, it is the ability to assess and interpret empirical relationships, that is, analyze data. On the one hand, on the other hand, understand and design markets. Understanding the industry structure and equilibrium behavior, having these three competencies, you have like the core methodological toolkit that is standardly taught in an economics program. What has to be added to this is that you have to be able to also handle big data sets and that you learn some programming and coding. This combination puts the people who conduct this program apart from others, and it's not a secret that it's a very potent combination to combine exactly these two skills. So on the one hand, the economic insights and ability to understand empirical relationships and market structures, and at the other hand, to be able to code and to work with huge data sets. And that was the inspiration for the program that we have built, and it was the first of this kind in Switzerland a few years ago. And it consists of the two main pillars. On the left-hand side, you can see data analytics, and on the right-hand side, you can see economics of markets and organizations. The right pillar consists not of the full economics program, but only of a part of it that is similar to what is also sometimes called business economics. Let's have a closer look. In business economics, the main tools behind are decision and game theory. How do people and firms interact? We look at strategic decisions of firms, such as pricing decisions, or the design of markets, such as how to design an auction, how to show the most relevant products on an online platform if you search for a certain type of product, and so on. So that's in the second module, Economics of Markets and Organizations. In the first module, you learn in depth how to analyze data sets. You learn how to handle big data sets. You learn to program, and you get an edge with machine learning techniques. Building on these two pillars, I left out the top of the two. You can specialize in the direction that you like to, so you can use the two tools that you have learned in some sense and apply it to topics such as digital marketing or economics of innovation. So this gives you a good impression of how this master's program is structured and how it is organized. If you go to a more specific study plan, you will see this whole spirit that I described here reflected in the study program. For instance, Module 1 and Module 2 are mandatory. So there are many courses that you somehow have to select off a few in both Module 1 and in Module 2. We want to make sure that you receive enough points in both pillars such that you have a very stable building. And there is a lot of freedom when you go to the specialization. Okay, so I hope you got so far a good impression of both. Economics was the first program, data analytics and economics the second program. Let me once more maybe stress also the difference and what the two have in common. These two programs have a lot of things in common. Many courses are offered in both programs. You can have a similar combination of courses in both programs. So what is the main difference? Well, a main difference is economics is much broader. There's much more to economics than only economics of markets and organizations. That's what you somehow lose if you take the second program. What you gain more in the direction of computer science and business informatics, but you will learn much more about business informatics in a few seconds from Hans-Georg Phil. Thank you.
So let's see. Here we are. Okay. Yeah, welcome also from my side. Very happy that I can also present to you our master in business informatics. I'm Hans-Georg Phil, and some of you probably already know me, so I see some familiar faces here, also from our bachelor in business informatics. For those of you who are still considering business informatics and have not yet heard anything about it, I always have some introductory slides just to give an idea what is business informatics, what are we actually doing. So we have in business informatics on the one hand side the part of the enterprises that we're interested in. It's everything that concerns enterprises like the business goals, the profit, sustainability, as we have heard, market share, quality, customer satisfaction, and so on. And on the other hand side, well, we have computer science or informatics, where we have a range of technical solutions and technologies that we would like to provide to businesses. Now, the question that we pose in business informatics is how can we actually bridge these two fields? And the bridge that we built, and here in Fribourg, we like bridges very much, as you probably know. Well, this is exactly what we call here business informatics in terms of the digitalization. So when you want to do digitalization, engage in digitalization, meaning you bring these technologies to an enterprise for improving, for example, business processes, for improving your business model, for creating entirely new business models, you have to be aware of how to use actually this kind of technologies. And for that purpose, we have in business informatics specialized models and modeling methods. As you probably know, we have enterprise modeling methods that we largely teach in business informatics that are then also deepened in the master, for example. We have the part for designing and implementing IT-based solutions using a large range of technologies. So you have to be very tech savvy, of course, to understand all these technologies. So if programming already interested you in Bernard Büchel's presentation, then here this is the even deeper way to go and to learn more about that. But then also aspects like simulation, optimization, decision support, for example, as well as, for example, also data analytics and management, very much here also from the technical side. Now, I thought, well, what should I tell you about business informatics, but why not ask someone else to tell us what business informatics is? I'm sure you're all very familiar with ChatGPT, hopefully using it in the right way. And I thought, well, let's ask ChatGPT what it tells us about business informatics. So why should you study business informatics and what are the topics that ChatGPT would provide us for business informatics? I thought it was quite an interesting result and a lot of the technologies that actually ChatGPT mentioned that are part of business informatics and that should concern you when doing or engaging in this field are actually also the topics that we have in our courses here at the university. So for example, one of the topics is business process analysis and optimization. Another one is blockchains and augmented reality. I also brought one of our recent headsets here with me. So it's the MetaQuest 3 headset. That is the best headset you can actually get in Europe, not the Apple Vision Pro that you probably have heard of. We are still trying to get that one. But this one is one of the headsets, for example, that we use for augmented reality and virtual reality applications. I wanted to let you try it out afterwards. Unfortunately, somehow the internet doesn't work here in this room well enough. So it didn't work for that moment. But let me assure you that you can try it out also in our courses and learn how to program with this. Then we have topics like supply chain management, also a very big topic at the moment. You probably know after the pandemic, we have been very interested in optimizing and securing our supply chains that are today governed on a worldwide basis. And we have to see, well, how can we optimize that? So that's also a big part in business informatics and the according technologies we need here. And then, of course, the standard topics like digital transformation. So how do we transform existing businesses into the digital world? How do we make processes digital and so on, as well as innovation and entrepreneurship. So in terms of the startups, for example, that we want to create. So that's also a big topic here. So all these things you can basically learn also here in our business informatics curriculum. And just to give you some examples of concrete applications that we are developing in the courses and also in our research. So this would be one augmented reality application, for example, that we use here in a server room. So to visualize, well, what are the current configurations of a server? And for example, when wearing a headset like this, you could then go into the server room and you get displayed all this information when looking at the different components of a server. So this is an experiment we did here downstairs in our server room, for example. So these are our department servers that we have in computer science that we also use for letting student projects run, for example, and also for doing these kinds of experiments. We also have, for example, a range of robots at our disposal at the moment. So as you probably know, we have here a Fab Lab that contains several parts from the university side, also from the informatics side, where we have, for example, different kinds of robots that we also use in our courses for programming. One of these, you've probably seen the one on the right-hand side. So this is a KUKA robot. So KUKA, it's the world leader, I would say, in robotics. That was originally a German robotics company, now bought by someone else, but that's a different story. And these robots are used in industry, for example, in automotive industry for assembling cars and so on. And the nice thing is, well, we got hold of the Lego version of that. So KUKA also produces the large-scale version in the small-scale Lego environment. And you can still use the same software that you would use for programming the real industrial robot on the right-hand side for your Lego robot. And that is very interesting because you can learn really how to program a real robot. That would be the industrial robot that costs several millions of francs, for example, if you want to buy one. Whereas this one is a bit more handy. You can place it on your desk and you can still use the same software to learn, well, how that actually works and how would you program such a device. By the way, we also have the real robot in the Smart Living Lab just around the corner. So if you're interested in seeing the real robot and how that works in action, that's also possible here. In terms of job prospects, I'm always asked, well, where do you work when you do a business informatics curriculum and you have a degree in business informatics? Well, it's very broad. So the main topic, I would say, is business analysts. So that means the people that really have to match the requirements from the business side with what IT can produce and to work on this interface and really mediate between these two areas. So that's the core idea, I would say, also of business informatics, because you have to understand really both domains for doing that. But then, of course, specialized topics like enterprise architects. So the enterprise architect is really responsible for designing this whole architecture of IT applications, business processes, optimizations, and so on, and getting this overview for the whole company, as well as different positions, for example, as IT project managers. So that's also very typical, or business process consultants. So these are also very typical functions. Last but not least, of course, we have also some alumni that founded their own companies. So that's also, of course, a very good idea to do. We have a lot of startup funding also in Fribourg, and we work together also with several startups that are currently being started in Fribourg. So that's also, of course, a very good option. Another question that I often get is it worth doing it? So what, in terms of the job prospects, also in terms of the salaries, what can you earn in this field? And I always take a bit here the figures that we get here from the job websites. So for the typical positions that you find in business informatics, the salaries are quite high. So usually when you enter these positions, you will be able to secure high salaries if you're really specializing in this domain and if you're doing well, of course. So just to give you an overview also, because this question is also asked a lot of times. What is now the structure of the master in business informatics? So we have a master in science of 90 ECTS, and here you can see the different modules. So we have the core modules in business informatics, where you have to take at minimum 22 ECTS. Then we have a large number of modules as a choice here from computer science. So these come from the joint master in computer science that is organized in combination with Bern and Neuchâtel, where you can choose all the courses that are given also at these universities here in the JMCS. And you can choose at least here 8 ECTS also from these courses. So that's a really huge offering that we have here. Then you can take at maximum 15 ECTS for modules in management. So that's also a broad choice here of the modules we have here. And then I will come back to that later on. We also have a compulsory internship with a company. So also to embed you really in the industrial world and to give you the experience here, you also have to do this internship with a company that accounts for 18 ECTS. And then we have the master thesis for 27 ECTS. So just to give you a bit of an idea of the current courses that are offered in the different modules. So these are the core modules in business informatics. We have some new courses that have also been added now, for example, from our new professor in technology management, Stefan Niersch, who is also offering now courses that we integrated again here in the curriculum, as well as some of the core business informatics courses. Giving you an overview here also of the joint master courses that you can take. So these are the modules also from the joint master in computer science. So if you want to specialize, for example, in data science, machine learning, etc., that will also be a big part in the joint master in computer science, and you are free also to choose these courses here. Finally, also pointing to an additional offering that we have. So we have, as probably some of you know, or some of you have probably already taken this course, a dedicated programming course for Python. So Python is the core programming language that is used also in the Master of Data Analytics and Economics, for example, because it's today the standard language for any machine learning applications. So everyone working in this area would use Python. And we are offering here an online course that is also given in presence. So it's always in the autumn semester that we give it in presence, but it's also available fully online. And you can take the exam here and earn 3 ECTS credits, which is also the basis, for example, for the more advanced machine learning courses and also programming courses. So you have yearly a very easy introduction also to acquire these programming skills. So that's meant, by the way, for the whole university. It's part of the digital skills program. So there are around 150 people currently taking this course. So quite a lot of people, most of them online, but also quite a bit doing it in presence then with us. Regarding the internship, just to mention that, so as I said, in the Master of Business Informatics, we have a compulsory internship with the company. And the idea is that you are really employed there for 12 weeks full time and really have to do a project with the company. If you're already working for a company, it's also possible to consider that. So then you just have to define a little project with your company where you currently are working. And then you can also get here this certification of the internship here. And as you can see, so our students have worked really in a lot of the big companies throughout Switzerland to get this experience also from the practical side. Finally, we have here all the professors from the DU, from the informatics department of the university. And I think we can offer you a really good research-guided teaching. So we are all heavily engaged also in international research and teaching activities here. And I think that's really a very good offering that we can provide to you. Also a very modern infrastructure. So we have both the IT infrastructure, the robotics, our new Fab Lab, and so on, which is, I think, also quite interesting actually to experience that. If you have more questions, we have our dedicated websites for business informatics. And of course, I'm also here afterwards then to answer your questions. Good. Thank you very much. That was it from my side.